And folks, and welcome back to the Women of Water Get Real, a virtual summit where we are looking into where and why women are leaking from the water career pipeline, how we can stop those leaks, and actually even bring women back after a career break. And a lot of this came out of the recognizing that UN water is at the United Nations. There was a UN water conference for the first time in many years, decades. The first time that they've had a UN dedicated conference about water. It starts on World Water Day. Of course, our conference starts on Monday of that week, and we're going all week long. But you're going to be able to hear today from Lylian Coehlo, who at SUEZ, who is doing a lot of the work with some of the UN agencies that are dealing with water and gender. So, Liz, thank you so much for being here. I know it's kind of late there, so I appreciate your being here.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much for this invitation. That is more than ever so important to push women in the water sector, and we are working so much on that. Thank you for this invitation.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your background, civil engineer, how you got into that, how you got into water, any issues that you faced along the way as a woman in the industry.
Yes, sure. That I'm from Brazil. I was born in São Paulo, and then is a very big city to 20,000 million inhabitants. Then that you needed to understand that when you are a woman and you are facing the challenges in South America, to be an engineer is not easy. Then I had the opportunity to live in a family where my father introduced me to the engineer career. That's just to show how is important the mix inclusion between men and women that we needed to support by both sides. And then I start my career in the conception of structures and as civil engineers, and I discovered the environmental sector. That is a very big moment in my career because I learned that you can not only build as engineers, but we can change society. You can change lives because you know the climate change, you know what happened about the human factors, how you change our habits and how we can improve our society or destroy it then. And I was faced moving to different private sector companies around the world because I'm living in France and I also have the French citizenship. And then with this two both sides, Brazil and France, I can mix something about the philosophical structure of the head and the amazing is social connection in South America. With this connection, I could understand better about people around the world and women. They face the challenges that we are facing, that we are not yet in the good position in around the world. We are 50% of the population, but I always said that working together is like a woman being. You have two legs. One leg is a man, one leg is a woman. If you don't have the legs at the same size, that you cannot walk faster. You know, that's you need to improve and to walk together. Then when I introduced my career in the water sector and the sanitation sector, I discovered how women are challenged that when girls that cannot go to school in Africa and South America and Asia, they are living today the obligation that they cannot go to school because they need to go to take waters that has not at home. That is a very important factor because we forget when you have the opportunity to live in the big countries, that you have a good life, that you don't care about the how many water you drink, and then you need to open the eyes and see that you have already a lot of things to do. Then I asked to my company to put me in projects, because I lead a lot of projects and offers. And then, but I wanted to impact the social life. And then I was pushed to be the development director at the chair in a university in France, AgroParistech. And then AgroParistech SUEZ, Chair Water for All, it's a chair that are like a vision that you need to train in the future leaders in the water and sanitation sector in Africa and Asia. Then our goal is to push also women, because today you have so many training men, managers, and we know that the decision makers, that is the governance that push the system. If you don't have women in leadership in the water and the sanitation sector, you never get the equal rights. Then what I'm asking and planning, that we needed to push these women to the leadership. Then in our training program, we ask for the CEO, the high level decision makers, bring more women to the training program. That is my fight today. That is the challenge, because a lot of CEOs sometimes don't want to bring a woman to maybe they are not comfortable with the new generation that we wanted to push equal parity, equal rights. But we are here, you are moving lines and working with United Nations Framework Climate Change Convention. I'm a focal point for the women and gender constituents, and I'm working into the COPs, the Conference of the Parties, where we put in the Paris Agreement the women rights inside the papers. That is my civil action. That is the voluntary social action that I'm doing since 5 years ago. That's going to the Congress and do that.
Nice, nice. So, so you started out in civil engineering. By the way, one of our other speakers, Ana Carolina Coelho Marin Coelho is also from Brazil. So she works for the Brazilian agency, civil engineer that I went to school with. So she's another one of our speakers, and so, bringing your perspective, having come from Brazil, coming to France, being part of this global firm. I mean, SUEZ is a very large firm, and it has an opportunity to have an impact all over the planet, right?
Exactly, that you say that how SUEZ is important today, and is a big private company where you know that you needed to push the impact for more than 3 billion people living in agricultural areas that in extremely high water shortage scarcity. Then companies like SUEZ can bring innovation, and you have a lot of technology and push women in the sectors to commitment and to advance holistic inclusive water solutions, to expand capacity building networking programs, and to advance the scientific research and the implementation of a systematic approach in the water management. That is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, and what the emphasis within the United Nations on water related topics, it really shifts over time, right? I remember with respect to agricultural communities that a lot of for a long time it was kind of this perception that of course all people would want to go to the cities, that when they became cultured, or if they had the opportunity, they would love to go to the cities. And so you ended up with a lot of people in areas in the cities that didn't have water and sanitation, right? And just kind of living in squalor, and versus being able to be out in in the areas where they came from. And then same with women, that we had a really good overview from Marsha Brewster from the UN Association, that when was it looking at women in water, and when was it looking at women and water, right? So women, if you're talking about water and women, it's, oh, those poor women in black and brown countries with buckets on their heads and they can't go to school, and not really making the connection with the women who are in the organizations that are making the decisions. And a lot of your work is with the local water utilities, right, in various places around the country. Are you also seeing developments in Suez and in other organizations and within the United Nations organizations?
Yes, that is a very good point, because the private sector, like Suez, that has a woman as a CEO, Sabrina Susan, that's in the private in United States and UK, in German, we see that the women are taking the leadership in water in the private sector. But when you look at the public sector, the utilities, the small areas, that's not the same. That is where the United Nations you are looking. And we see that since 4 years ago, when the civil society could integrate the United Nations and have voices, that for the climate change convention, that you see things are done, because all countries now they are obliged to come to the conference with a parity team. And then when you bring women in the high level position, even that you are in a country that is not so developed as in the big cities and the big countries that have the economy, today you need to pay attention with the words, because the world is changing. And then the economic values are changed, the capital is changed, and the banks, you see what they happen, and the digital transformation. It's very important that they can help or make it worse for women, because artificial intelligence and the water sector also, if you have more men, you will continues to have more men. That you needed to change data, working the algorithms, and then that to take care about our future, what we wanted to leave for our children, and the small villages and the big cities.
Okay. And you mentioned artificial intelligence, and we talked a good bit about how and as an engineer myself, and having done a lot of decision support systems, that computers do what we tell them to do, that we program the computers and we build our bias into that, and have to be very conscious of what bias is in there. And we also go with have data that goes into the computer. And so if we are going and say doing surveys, as Magda, one of our speakers from Meta, they do surveys, and if they if somebody does a survey and knocks on a door, and a man comes to the door and says, "Do you have water?" Yes, yes, yes. "Do you have sanitation?" Yes, of course. But they're not asking the woman who's actually doing that. So are you getting the right data in your systems? Are you programming your computers in a way that might reflect some kind of bias that about women, right?
Exactly. You say so important words. That in France, I can tell that you have and also in Europe, the Commission, the European Commission are doing a lot of efforts to change the dawn, because you have, as you know, how you are women in this sector, we are not too much, we are not many women together, but we needed to take this community and this spread around the world. Now the values and the data that how you can change, how we can change the future, and like that's a small example is about the reasons that for the in leadership you have more men, that you have the high qualification training, and then if the artificial intelligence you decided about the future of position in the companies, that you not go in the good way. That is why we are here.
And looking at that World Bank study, that they touched on some important issues, or everything from harassment, bullying, some religious factors, impacting women in certain countries. But some of the recommendations, does it come down to, is it too simplistic to say, well, if we just give them childcare and lactation rooms, that's all they need?
That's when I see what happened with the different organizations, with the World Bank and always about where put the money, financial also. That is very important to know that we need to be careful with what do you invest. I think that today the big banks, they are investing so much in infrastructures, and then we have new directions, new studies, and new orientations for the training programs, but it's not enough. And then for me, that's all that we are doing with this these studies and the feedback from the World Banks or the ASEAN Bank and everywhere. We need to push and to increase that SDGs impact with the SDGs 5 and 6 together, because water and equality and women needed to be part of the investment in the all projects.
So in 5 on water and fresh water and drinking water, and 6 on gender, or vice versa. I forget which one, but the two of them, they cover water and gender together. Water. Right. So 5 is gender and 6 is water, right? So these are the Sustainable Development Goals, folks. If that really drives the United Nations, and what so during UN Water and during that entire week, you guys are really having a very prominent role there. You've got a few different events. What are the events that you have coming up, and what are you really hoping to get out of this? What's going to happen at UN Water?
Yes, that as you said in the first moment of this conversation, that 46 years ago that we had a conference like this one. Now that you attend 46 years to meet, to put people together to talk about water, and I work in different seminars and conferences about environment projects, but you know that water is peace and war. You know that you have so challenge inside that. And what I maintain in this agenda 2030, that this United Nations Water Conference, is that put a more large declaration commitment that by my side, I'm involved in 3 side events directly with the Energy Women Vine, that they are accepted, and OASAT, WASAT. One will be on 21, 2 p.m. with the French Water Partnership. That will be in French Alliance in New York. This one, you talk about training programs in SDGs. I have another side event that you talk about women, the position about from women in the utilities, and you bring several interviews around the world with my students, the manager that pay the alumni from the Share Water for All, from the Women from Women Vibe, from the private sector, from the public sector, that you be online, a virtual, that you be the 22, that after, if you know, I can send the link. And the last one
And
that
that's all virtual.
yes, that virtual.
Yes.
If you can join us, it would be great to have you with us the 22.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, at 2 p.m. And the last one that I'm leading is on 24 inside the United Nations Head Square. That's you'll be in plenary, room C. And then it will be at noon 30. And then you will develop and leave a declaration, the commitment with all organizers inside the room about the financial for the capacity building and inclusion of women and men working together as engineers, as scientists, and research, and the private and public sector. How altogether we can make an inclusive water sector, we can improve digital programs, how we can put investment funds in the capacity building program. Then these three side events that I'm leading directly, and another on the 23, I'm working with the UNESCO, and that you do the 23 March, that you'll be in Columbia University, that are supporting me too. Then what I expect really from all these organizations and institutions that you'll be doing this week working together is to push the real action, because you know that 2030 most of countries will not attend the goals they previous imagine that they could do. Then now it's time to the reality to put governments and institutions face with the reality and tell them how you can solve it with the civil society, because without the society you cannot do. It's not the public sector, it's the private sector with the civil society that you can push lines for a good governance. And the women, as we said, 50% of this world, we are there. You need to be there. Is why in all side events that I do, I want 50% of women inside the room. That is very important.
Well, anything I can come to, I will be heading up there. So while you're watching this, folks, I'm going to be in New York City. Lylian's going to be in New York City. I don't even know how many people they expect to have at UN Water, but it's going to be quite a lot of folks up there. And of course, New York City is having their whole New York Water events, film festivals, and other activities related to water all week long. So yeah, we're really looking forward to this, and glad that we are able to help provide our, we'd originally planned for this, applied for this to be a side event, and so we put it, we never heard back, so it's an unofficial side event. And not only we're doing it during the week of the 20th and 24th, but if you miss anything, and especially for those who are actually going to be there, you have that whole following week to catch up on anything you miss. So so any final thoughts for our audience, for the folks who are watching here today?
I just come back from Abidjan. That was the Congress from Water and Sanitation. And the minister and the declaration that they did, that they have the words that would touch me too much. That was the water is life, and the sanitation is dignity. Dignity, no? Is that?
Yes. Dignity, yes.
Yes, and you talk so many times, so much about water, and we forget that sanitation is dignity for a lot of women. Then for the society, about the health, One Health, we needed to talk about sanitation. And we'll see that the money for water is not so much, but is there. For sanitation, we don't have them. If I wanted to have some word for the audience, is still not this week take care for the water and sanitation sector, but continue all the year, all the time. Think about all these people that need you. Then you need you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And keep coming back and watch all of the incredible interviews that we have here at the summit. Thank you, Lylian. And we'll see you back at another one of our programs soon. Thanks so much for joining us for this extraordinary conversation, one of 45 extraordinary conversations we had as part of the Women of Water Get Real virtual summit, where we explored where and why women are leaking from the water career pipeline, how we can stop those leaks, and even bring women back to water. I hope that you will enjoy all of these amazing interviews. If you don't have a chance to watch all of them during the summit, you have the opportunity to join us with a power pack and get lifetime access to all the videos, as well as an opportunity to join us for 30 days in a brand new community where we will dig even deeper in live facilitated conversations about some of the issues that are facing women in water. Look forward to seeing you there. Please join us at watercitizen.org/women, watercitizen.org/women for more information. See you again soon.